Hello, everybody, and welcome to the pre-show for The Lord of the Rings Episode 3. Actually, should say The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. And hopefully we might be even doing this weekly, but we're going to see how it goes for this week. And joining me, we have an array of lovely people. But below me to my left, we have, of course, Nikki. Hello there.
Hi, Govan and Melanie.
Great to have you here as always. And then, of course, below him, actually, for his first appearance properly, we have Gregory, who is the head of social media for Fellowship of Fans. Hello, my friend.
Hello, Harry. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get you on more. Everyone can see your lovely face in the future as well.
I'd expect so, hopefully.
And then below him, we have Henry Barliman, who is the community manager for Fellowship of Fans. Hello, my friend.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thank you. And then, as always, to his right, we have Mr. Strider. Hello there.
Hello, everyone. Lovely to be here again.
As always, good to have you. And finally, in the top right, we have Frederick, who is the head of the Reddit. Hello, my friend.
Hello, good to be here.
Great to have you all on. And today, what we're going to be doing, and of course, to quickly explain me, reason I'm standing is because I'm currently moving house. So I'm not just dancing this entire time because it's quite hard for the legs. So I might be doing a little shimmies throughout the video. But anyways,
it's healthy.
Yep, it is. But also gives you cramp. But we're going to be predicting what's going to happen for episode 3. First of all, who here is excited for episode 3?
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes, sir.
so
excited.
We're very excited.
More excited than I thought I would be, actually, but very excited.
Yeah,
It's grown
true
over the
for me
course
as
of the
well.
week, for sure. Yeah.
I'm ready.
And I think one of the most exciting things we might be seeing, first off, is maybe the island kingdom of Numenor. And I know, Strider, you are, like me, a really massive fan of Numenor. So what do you expect? Do you think seeing... Would we get a lot of exposition like with the first 2 episodes? Do you think we'll get right into the heart and politics of Numenor and the island kingdom?
So I think we'll get both of those, and I'm hoping. I've been since they announced they're doing the show, we're gonna see Numenor and all that. I was imagining a scene like the moment Gandalf and Pippin reach Minas Tirith. I need something like that, but like 3 times longer with music like that. So I'm hoping we're going to get something like that because the photos we've seen of Numenor are absolutely amazing. I've been showing them to like random people on like bus stations because they're so amazing. So I'm hoping for something like that. And yeah, I think we'll get maybe some hints that something's wrong, or like some political tensions or something. But I don't think we'll get into like the really deep intrigue in this episode. I think we'll just get the whole thing set up.
Yep, and adding on to that, Barliman, do you think there will be a lot of setup and establishing like the first 2 episodes when we do reach Numenor?
So I've had a thought because I rewatched episode 2 like very, very not long ago, and given the short scene we had of Halbrand and Galadriel under the decks eating some food, I have a feeling that we won't actually see Numenor until the second half of the episode. And it will be just the journey and a little bit of relationship building with Elendil, if that is who we saw before we then finally see the majesty of like, oh, Numenor, amazing.
Yeah, I think that does make sense, and I think it gives us time to establish Elendil as a character as well. So I think, Gregory, moving on to characters, we spoke about Numenor, but the characters we might see in Numenor, like Isildur, Elendil, do you think who are you most excited to get introduced to?
I mean, I don't know if they're gonna bring him in right away or not, but Ar-Pharazôn, I mean, that's got to be one of the ones that most. I mean, whether or not he is one of the better Numenoreans overall. It's excited to see. I'm excited to see the guy who decided to take on the gods.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But I think Choble, his counterpart, Mythril, who's actually regent at this point, do you think that is where we're going to see a lot of Numenor on this first episode, I suppose? Because from all the stuff in the trailers and promos, you've been seeing this conversation between Galadriel and Mythril. So do you think that'll be a big thing in episode 3?
I definitely think they're going to introduce us to as many people as possible in the first episode, like Ar-Pharazôn and Mythril. Definitely, I think we're gonna get big overview of the setting and the scenery and how the tension is in Numenor. I don't think they're going to get too deep in the first episode, as Strider said, but I definitely think we're going to see both these from different side. You could say definitely.
Yep. Yeah, indeed. And Nikki, I think one of the biggest characters in Numenor, Isildur, I think it's gonna be exciting to see the character who's going to, in the end, be the biggest thing about this show by the come the final episodes. Do you think it's gonna be so interesting to see how his plot and his story arc begins in this next episode?
Yeah, I was actually wondering if he's on the boat.
Could be. He's a
With
sailor.
them. Yeah,
good
because
point.
he's a sailor, right? So he might be on the boat and he might be like portrayed in the beginning as not as important, but you understand based on his mannerism and his behavior that he is gonna be. Maybe Galadriel sees a lot of potential. I think we might get introduced to him on the boat, and if not, I don't think we'll see him until, if he's not on that boat, I don't think we'll see him until later, because then they'll be like establishing like the kings and the royals and all of that, and then he'll kind of be in the background, and they want to gradually introduce people. But I am picturing kind of an episode that's kind of similar to the one that we saw, like the first episode, where
Yeah.
there's a lot of introductions
Yeah.
happening again, because
Yeah.
Numenor is big. There is a lot of important people, and a lot of stories that are going to unfold there as well, that are going to be intertwined with everything else. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did anyone else notice some of the introductions to some of the characters, like superhero entrances with, like, you got Aronde's one and a few others, like quite grand ones. So I'll be interested to see what they're going to do with Numenor. But I think another grand entrance I think we all want to see is our main man, I should say elf, Adar. Do we think we're going to finally, after months, years, in fact, I think, Gregory, we were talking about him probably this time last year. Finally, do you think we're going to see him on the big screen?
Oh,
I think this is the episode. I think so.
And
you think so?
I
I don't
hope
know.
you do.
I think
I'm not sure either.
I feel like Numenor is about to be established. I feel like it might be a little too much to introduce him as well, because he would be in the Southlands, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but the thing is, do you introduce your villain halfway into the season and then have the big events happen in episode 7? It's like, are they cutting it a bit too late, do you think?
Maybe, yeah.
It will all depend on how it's put together, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
I mean, the last time thing we saw is Arondir getting captured by something,
Yeah.
and we have to get a follow-up in this episode, I think. And if he's about to get taken to the orc pits or whatever you want to call them, we should see Adar, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yes. So what I have in mind is that they will lull us into safety with Numenor. Maybe we'll see some other storylines as well, like the bits and pieces. But I think the episode will be focused on Numenor because it's the next big thing. And then the very end of the episode will just be the scene we've seen in the trailers, like what is presumably Arondir being carried, and like he's looking at the ceiling or wherever. And I think they may end the episode with the cliffhanger of Adar. Maybe not show him completely, but just have that whole scene with when the orcs are splitting to let a person pass. So I think that they may end it like that. I don't think we'll have a lot of him, but maybe just like that, and then it's like a nice, really big cliffhanger for the fourth episode.
That is really clever. That's clever filmmaking, because if you end every episode with kind of a cliffhanger, people will want to keep watching. They want to know. So it's a way to keep the audience interested and curious. So yeah.
So yeah, a cliffhanger then. So Choble or Poss on T, do you think we're in the realm of possibility of getting a little Adar cliffhanger at the end of episode 3?
Yeah, it makes sense what Strider is saying, but I mean, I'm just curious how they are going to do with the pacing, if they're just going to do an introduction for Numenor for one whole episode. Of course, there are gonna be bits maybe with the Harfoots, which is not that tense, and then maybe a cliffhanger with Adar at the end. But I'm
Don't
really
forget
interested.
Eregion and the dwarves
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything
That's
that's
gonna
happened
have
there as
to-
well.
That's
Yeah,
going to have to become quite a
So
heavy
that-
storyline at some point.
Yeah.
that's might be how they
Mm-hmm.
approach the pacing by introducing the leader.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And I think with Adar, we're somewhat there. It could be a finale moment for episode 3. We're going into episode 4, then we'll see. But I think overall, I think we're all excited to see what they're going to do with that nonetheless, because it has been so long. And I think another thing that we're excited or more intrigued to see what's going to happen is I want to extend this now to the Stranger/Meteor Man storyline. Does anybody have, I think I'll start this with you, Henry. Do you have any ideas, maybe potentially where we might be going with Meteor Man in episode 3?
So we know that the Harfoots are getting ready to migrate at some point, and obviously they said they have their festival. I'm assuming it's like their last festival before they move.
Yeah.
And my feeling is that at some point, because obviously we've seen Nori and I think I can't remember which character it was, but they, as though that like the rest of the Harfoot clan, they seem to know about Meteor Man by this point.
Yep.
And I just feel like the map that we've gotten will influence the direction in which the Harfoots go. Through whether or not that's Nori influencing the direction or whether or not it's kind of somewhat else. I do think that there's something there which will perhaps change their plans.
That is very interesting. And I think one thing we saw in the Empire magazine, the festival, we're going to probably see that in this episode at some point. But I think extending that further, I think as you touched upon a bit, do you think, Strider, we will see Meteor Man meet the rest of the Harfoots or Nori and Poppy still keep them away a bit from the rest and keep him in hiding?
Well, the problem is that we have only 8 episodes and we have like 4 or 5 storylines we need to, move forward. So I think that at least some of them, I don't think they will be able to keep him secret the whole episode. I think somebody will hear about him or see him or something. I think there will definitely be some sort of a meeting. Maybe not the whole tribe, or however we're gonna classify them, but like at least some of them.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure because they will probably be acting suspiciously and so on, and somebody will catch on that.
Indeed. And I think it'll be interesting to see where they go with that. But I think, Nikki, you mentioned Eregion and Khazad-dûm, and I think do you remember that one of the last bits of episode 2 we saw during the third open that box, that chest, and there was something in there?
Yeah.
What do you think that could be?
Oh, it's Mythril. We all know it's going to be Mythril, right? It's going to have to be.
No spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Don't listen.
It's a prediction.
It's wizard dust.
Wizard dust.
I actually had a friend that is not that into Tolkien. He said like, I think it's a Silmaril in that box, and I was just like, yeah.
That would be.
I think it's so sweet though. All these new fans that are coming in that are so interested.
It's lovely.
And they're gonna read the books eventually. They're gonna watch this and they're gonna be hungry for more information. So they're gonna go read, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like.
I have a friend, just like a short one. I have a friend, and we've been texting today, and like also a couple days ago, like I just got like 3-4 paragraphs of like a theory regarding elves, and she didn't read the books yet, and she's absolutely hooked on the show. It's absolutely, as Nikki said, it's so nice that so many people are going to get hooked on the books because of the show. Whatever the show is like, people getting hooked on Tolkien, that's amazing. That's already a win.
I think it's fairly obvious for most of us that is likely Mythril, but I was wondering how many people who've only watched The Hobbit are going to think it's the Arkenstone.
Yes.
Dwarves and a shiny thing in a box,
But I think wasn't there like in some trailer or featurette or wherever, one of the dwarves was holding like something Mythril like a stone with something. So I think that was maybe like the main clue. But of course there are so many of those short videos now around that it's easy to miss or just forget about it.
And my prediction is that the discovery of this Mythril may lead to that. If we've seen in the trailers and some of the premiere pics, this massive dinner table, this dinner scene happens to 5, 6 different other main characters. I think is going to lead to that. There might be a discussion around there, and particularly between Durin and Celebrimbor, because when we saw in that image, those were the two holding up the glasses. So do you think in this next episode could be the episode where we get this dinner table? What do you guys think?
I doubt it.
I don't think it's coming so soon, but I definitely think that that's the episode in which where they have their meeting and then they essentially, put pen to paper and make a deal.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. I think so. I think maybe we might see it in the episode after this one. We were only getting 8 episodes for the first season, so they are going to have to pace things a little. And the stuff that they have shown us is stuff that's going to be for this season, so it's going to happen now. But I feel like they need to pace themselves a little because we are hopefully going to get many seasons of this show. And based on where they started this, it's not that far to go to the end. So I don't know, maybe next episode, maybe the episode after that, but I don't think it's going to be any later than that.
I think.
You can go first.
I do think though that we will get potentially Celebrimbor meeting Durin, but that's about it. And I think that would be their first impressions, and then the next episode after, or the episode after that, will be then further in the relationship.
Harry, do you mind if I go back to something with the stranger and the Harfoots?
Go for it.
I was thinking about how much time they spent on Nori's father, whose name I'm forgetting, breaking his ankle, and the problems with being able to migrate and all that stuff, and they're building that up as a conflict and a plot point. And I'm thinking that right now, I mean, I think there's a lot of speculation that whether is the stranger good or bad, is it Gandalf or a Balrog, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Is it Sauron?
Yeah. I think that this will either be at the end of next episode or maybe somewhere in the 4th episode. But since this is for next episode, let's leave this as a prediction for next episode. That we're going to get the stranger healing the ankle. And that being like...
Ooh, that's a bold prediction.
That ties it. I mean, and again, maybe it could go a different way, but I could see that as being something, as a plot point by the stranger. And
that's a really good idea. That's a really good idea.
I could see that happen, yeah.
Just a little headcanon-y thing. I also think that Nori is like the ancestor of the Tooks specifically.
Same. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, that would be
the Took side. The Took is strong with her.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. But have you guys noticed though, because there is a lot of discussions about the Meteor Man or the Stranger. I prefer Meteor Man. It sounds nicer.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Elton
Plus, it's
John.
like our homegrown thing. So
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the Elton John song.
Yes. But I don't know. For some reason, I want it to be Gandalf because I like the look of him and the vibe of him, but I also don't want it to be him because it's too soon. It feels like he doesn't belong there. Because if he was there, I mean, can you imagine if he was there with the powers that he has, things could have gone differently. And then again, there's a lot of darkness surrounding him. There's something bad. And it's like meeting a narcissist or a psychopath. Like, they seem so nice.
We saw with the Fireflies, they died.
Would
the music
Gandalf have killed those?
The music is dark as well. Like, if you go listen to the soundtrack, it is closer to the Sauron soundtrack than it is to anything else.
And I think one thing which is nice about moving back to the Meteor Man and Harfoot storyline is, in this episode, do you think we'll start to maybe see those white all-female priestesses maybe chasing Meteor Man, trying to find...
I am dying to see her in that role.
That would be interesting to see.
Oh.
But I think we did report that they will be, I think, around Well,
Yeah.
I don't know which set, I think, but it was Harfoot's, right?
Yeah.
Harfoot's or Sauron's, but I thought Harfoot's, yeah. Would
Wait,
make sense.
who's in Numenor?
One.
No, they're not. They're in.
What?
They're from Lindsay Weber, who was the producer, said they are from Rune and they are traveling. So my prediction is that they are traveling and going to there due to Meteor Man. So I think that's the link. Maybe they're trying to find who Meteor Man is. These priestesses. But yeah, continue.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
I thought they
but-
were from Numenor. I thought they were like part of the
No.
faithful. No, the Kingsmen. I thought she was like.
Yeah, but I mean, we will probably see something similar to them at a later point in Numenor. But what I wanted to say, for me, actually, a very big mystery that I think we actually touched on. What's up with the book that Sadok has? Like, it has prophecies in it.
Yeah.
Like, it has pictographs, and what's happening there, and why does he have a prophecy about a meteor coming to Middle Earth? Like, he has, there's like a wolf, and then there's those two hunters.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's the line they show us, and I think there was maybe some also reference to like a meteor or something. I cannot remember, but he says the skies are strange and so on.
Yeah, the constellation.
So what's?
I
Yeah, the
don't know.
constellations. Yes.
Like,
So
from
what's?
what I got with the pictures, especially with the Wanderers and all of that, it was a book of sort of, they've been keeping watch for so long and they've seen this. So this is basically a book of seasons, and he knows when the Wanderers start migrating, it is that particular season. And then now that he's seeing them earlier, he's like, this doesn't make sense. Like, they're not supposed to be here at this time. So it's like a calendar of sorts.
Yeah, that's how
I don't
I
think
think
it's
it
a
as
book
well.
of predictions, but it might be like, he seems like a bit of a, what is it, like a, not a wizard, but like a medicine man of sorts.
So on
yeah.
the Amazon website, it says that he's a
Like the lore master, maybe.
He's
Would be like they're kind of lore master.
Amazon calls him the trail finder and a leader of the Harfoot. So
I didn't know that. Yeah.
It seems to be that he very much is just keeping note about every detail that might be relevant to them and
to their migration and everything.
Yeah.
And this is the season when men fall from the sky through meteors. And it's actually
it's like in a month from now. What's happening?
Yeah.
They should be. Yeah.
But he didn't say men fall from, like, he said must be a star falling or something.
Star
Yeah.
Yeah, so he doesn't even know that there's a dude in there.
No.
And I think it'd be interesting to see if Nori and Poppy do end up revealing Meteor Man to the rest of the Halfway group. But yeah, also around the priestesses, it'd be interesting to see if we do see their first involvement in episode 3. And I think the final thing, narratively, which is tied to the show in general, is Galadriel. What we're going to see with her, we know Numenor already, but do you think we will start to see this episode her wanting, because she's found out through Halbrand, orcs are attacking the Southland? So do you think we'll start to see we have to go to Middle-earth, we have to send them? What do you guys think?
I do think we'll get her and Elendil riding across that beach this episode.
Yes, I was gonna say that.
And in that tower. That tower.
Yeah.
As well.
Going to that tower and looking through those writings in the books, yeah.
I think
Maybe the Palantir as well.
Maybe that's the
I don't
future.
know.
I think that's episode 4, I think. Maybe.
I think
Yeah, maybe too early.
I think she might be introduced to like the queen and all of that, and they'll be like, or this episode might be her trying to get an audience with the queen, because she's like, I need to go, and she's going to try and convince them, you guys need to help me, we need to fight this, I know where he is now, help me please. And then she's going to keep trying to convince them for maybe 1 or 2 episodes and then go back.
To add to that, I do actually think that they do get jailed. Maybe they get visually get sent to that prison, because you see that
maybe
thing of Halbrand,
We had that leak as well.
Yeah, we had that leak as well. So that's spoilers. Sorry. So but yeah, I think any final.
But Barliman wanted to say something.
Go for it.
I think that if we talk about the horse riding scene across the beaches with Galadriel and Elendil, I just have the feeling that will be fairly early on in the episode. Well, early on when they're at Numenor. And then I think the conversations there will then inform how Galadriel acts in the courts, maybe.
Yeah, but they're gonna have to be jailed first though, and
Yeah,
then
that's the
like
thing.
release,
That's the
and
thing.
then the horse thing. So that might be
Yeah.
like a little further in the episode.
You know, we were talking about what's, you know, how it's going to be when they first appear at court and whether or not they get right into the intrigue or whether it's a lot of exposition and stuff. I think we're likely to get a sense. I mean, I think Galadriel is not the type to beat around the bush. She's going to get there and say like what she wants immediately, pretty much. Once she gets the lay of the land and learns who these people are and like knows who she needs to talk to, she's going to be like, this is what needs to happen. Give me troops. Help me do this. And I think that we're going to see some pushback. And I think it's really hard to know because we don't know exactly how they're going to, we know they're going to condense the timeline. We don't know the way in which they're going to condense the timeline. So I think it's hard to make exact predictions around that, but I think we'll see some reticence. You know, we'll see that she has, once again, sort of not dissimilar to like what happened with her conversation with Gil-galad. She has a particular, or not with Elrond, it's not actually Gil-galad, but she has the right priority on her mind, and we're going to see the Numenoreans and those in charge having the wrong priority on their minds. And I think that's what we're going to start to see unfold towards the end of the episode.
I also think that because we are likely to see, because Mythril is queen at the moment, but we have Pharazôn, I think we are going to see the beginnings of darker times in Numenor. It's not going to be right then and there, but maybe Mythril is going to be distracted because of all the, like, there is disturbances, there is the faithful, there is the Kingsmen, maybe, like, there's like something growing, something brewing, and I think she might be distracted by that and want to focus more on like her own sort of stuff, but she might also be because she's like, this is an elf, like we need to help, like we look up to these people. So conflict, we're gonna see a lot of conflict and a lot of maybe that also is part of the catalyst that will push them over the edge somehow and give Pharazôn more of a handle on people. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it is going to be an interesting dynamic, I think.
So I think a very big thing that the next episode has to do is, I think Numenor has the biggest cast. I think they have like 6 characters. I think no other storyline at the moment has 6, like nowhere close even. Like we have Elendil, Earian, I'm not sure how we pronounce it, Isildur, Pharazôn, Mythril, and Kemen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I think we'll maybe get some hints towards potential conflicts over there, like between like the two political currents. But I think we won't get like into it until episode 4 because they have so much to set up. And I don't know who said, like I think Gregory, was it you, that we may see the like first the road to Numenor, and I think we also had this reported at some point as a leak that they will get like Galadriel, Halbrand, and Elendil will get closer in a way. So it would make sense that that's happening on the way back to Numenor. So if that takes like the first, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes of the episode, there's so much stuff. So I think we'll maybe get a hint or two, but I think in episode 4 will be when it really starts going wild.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I honestly don't think we'll get to see that much of Numenor in this episode because they have a lot of other timelines they're also going to jump backwards and forwards with. And when you really think about the pacing of an episode, if you want to establish, say, Isildur on board the boat, if you want to establish like their brewing like connection, if you want to let them get to know the people aboard the boat, then you're going to see that sailing happen and then maybe see them coming into Numenor and something happen there. Maybe they end up in jail and that's the end of first episode or the next episode. And then we'll see all of the other things as well. Another thing that I'm kind of curious is going to happen in this episode is that at least for the most knowledgeable of us, the ones who already know the story, maybe we will eventually finally know who Sauron is. Maybe?
That's actually, I was going to ask
maybe, but I think it's too early probably.
I was going to ask that question of you guys. Do you think we're going to have more hints towards that, or is that going to be revealed, or at least are we going to, Are we going to hear the name Anatar? I mean, what do you guys think as far as like?
I think that we won't get Sauron till much later, but there will be things looking back on a rewatch that will retroactively be almost obvious to be like, oh, that character's acting in a certain way that, oh, we weren't looking for it, so we don't see it. But now we do know what happened. It's like, oh yeah, that was kind of obvious.
Do you guys think we've seen him yet? Has he been on screen yet? Look at Harry smiling.
I hope not. And
He
I don't think
he
so.
knows.
No, it's just the blurry
spoilers,
camera.
Harry.
He
No.
was smiling.
Actually,
I don't know, like the prevailing theory, like everybody's constantly talking about that, is that it's Halbrand. But you know, as Barliman just said, like we will look at the acting of this person, and then like in retrospect, when we find out who Sauron is, and I don't know. He said he had that one very specific line, which was "looks can be deceiving," and it's him that says that.
Yeah.
So that's really a big line. But I don't know. For me, he doesn't feel like that. Like I really want him to be Witch King. I don't know.
He's not evil.
I don't see him as Sauron.
I don't see him as evil at all. I see him as the unwilling, like, anti-hero kind of guy. Like, and also there's the music. They have a track called Sauron in the soundtrack, and they haven't played that around him at any point yet. So
I don't think that.
I think we'd listen.
If they're going to
that
release
would be probably too maybe too obvious.
Yeah, it would be too obvious, I think.
Yeah.
But I think Halbrand could be, he could be a good guy. I mean, the rings could corrupt even the best person, so he could start off. He could have like a redemption arc, and it would be honestly, it would be amazing if he had a redemption arc, and he failed, because he takes the ring at some point, and then he falls into darkness. That would be a really cool way, because like the second age is gonna get dark. So honestly, I want them to go dark with it as much as possible. I think that would be a really cool way to wrap up his arc.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And anybody have any final ones?
I have one.
You go first.
Yeah, I have one final thought that we haven't talked about. How Gil-galad is going to react. He's seen the meteor. He's seen the leaf falling with the poison thing, and he's declared this moment of peace ahead. So how his reaction is going to be, and what he will do, actually.
He's an idiot at this point. Like, I never expected me to dislike Gil-galad, but man,
wow.
I just thought he was just a complete dick. I was just like, I don't like you. And I'm hoping that he redeems himself, because a lot of the time you see men of power, or people of power. I'm not going to say men because that sounds very sexist. People of power who are like, no, I know best, and then they're like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I didn't know best. Whoops. That's a nice.
Well, Nikki, I mean, I on my rewatch of it, I disliked him less than I did the first time, because I was sort of thinking about the fact that he's clearly aware that Sauron is still out there, and he's like, if Galadriel stays, it could make things worse. Like, he's not sending her away because he doesn't think Sauron is out there. He's like, she could exacerbate the problem and cause it to happen.
She could probably dig him out and then make it happen.
Which makes, if Halbrand is Sauron, even greater. That's the irony there. So
it's like the type of. Oh, actually, it's perfect because sorry, Nikki, it just dawned on me. It's like a traditional Greek myth of like a tragic prophecy.
Yes,
there's a prophecy. You know something's gonna happen. If this happens, this is gonna happen. You try to fix this. And by trying to fix it, you cause the thing to happen that causes the thing to happen. Yeah. So this would be perfect. Yeah, if he sends her to Valinor, she rescues Sauron, and that's.
But it is gonna upset a lot of people, though, because
I hope it's not the case.
At the moment, as far as they've gone in the show, at the moment, even though they have written stuff that isn't like that Tolkien hasn't written, and they have new characters and everything, they haven't really crossed the line. And I feel like, with something like that, I would be a little bit like, I don't know if Tolkien would go there, because it's so Like they seem like they are getting along now, and from what I've read, she was never trusting him at any point because she's not stupid. So I don't know, but we will see.
We will see.
I mean,
We will see.
We will see.
I mean, she
And,
did say immediately, what sort of man saves himself over his friends and stuff? She doesn't trust him.
No.
The only thing she's trusted is that when he said that his people were killed by orcs. And that is something where, she's clearly, I don't think they've crossed, for me at least, haven't crossed the line of her being so trusting as to like missing this evil right in front of her.
Yeah, but then you see in the
But
trailer,
we do
she's
know-
like, whatever you
yeah.
did, be free of it. And she said something else, and he says something like, I can't be the hero that you want me to be. Like, there's things like that are mentioned
Yeah.
in the trailer where I'm like, yes, Sauron wouldn't say that. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know, like he could be brainwashed to thinking he's a good guy, but I doubt that.
And
Like,
Well, maybe
Yeah,
that's part
there
of
are
the
definitely lines that don't sound like Sauron. Like I'm not
Yeah.
the hero you
Galadriel
want me to
wouldn't
be, you know.
ask that of someone she was suspicious of. Like, you would never ask him to be a hero or ask him to come to find Sauron or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
I think around Hellburn, that's like a whole discussion within itself. But I
Yeah.
agree. That's something that's probably going to be in multiple one of these. We're going to keep going back to him. So yeah, I think Henry, your final thing.
My final thing was that within the Numenor plotline, I think we will intentionally see very little of Keeman. And I feel like there'll be, because to me, the amount that the so little press that the character and the actor has had, and everything that I've read about it just screams that he might be like a Nazgul or a Witch King. And so I feel like they're intentionally just gonna put him to the side for now. And so when it does reveal that he's a bad character, then it will be even more of an impact because it's someone that we weren't paying attention to at all, but was very much there the entire time.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I would say I think you may be onto something. That's very correct, but that's very true that he didn't have much press time. But I think that none of the characters in Numenor will be presented as evil or evilish at the start. And I think and I hope that we will get, when what's going to happen happens and a certain someone arrives to Numenor, that we will see the corruption happen. And it would be amazing if they could pull off the manipulation through good intentions.
Yeah.
So, Pharazôn really convinced Pharazôn to think that what he's going to do is the best thing for his people, like not just make him a madman, and maybe also something like that would happen to Kemen, perhaps to Iarian as well.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for something like that.
But
I don't think they will start evil
as well. Like the prologue basically said that. It said like nothing is ever evil from the start.
Nothing was evil in the beginning. Yes.
Yeah.
I just feel like
True.
Pharazôn might convince Anatar or whoever to give Keeman one of the rings. And then in order to be like
very,
I want
very
to keep
possible,
him safe and alive, and then that will be the beginning of its downfall.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would just add an extra level of tragedy to the character of Pharazôn.
I think there's so much to explore there. I think that's not even an episode, that's like seasonal things.
Yeah.
But I think that's just about it for the time there. So I think we've hit pretty much everything, most things. So well done, team. Well, very well done, team.
Ooh.
So that's it. And I'd like to thank everyone for coming on today on the panel. Really appreciate it.
We appreciate being here, Harry.
Yeah.
It's always good.
And honestly, I have to say, Harry, you're getting so good at this. Like seriously, you're so good at just leading the conversation. Like you just pop a question and let us discuss, and then just ask like what's the word in English? Like a sub question. Thank you. Follow up, and then we just continue on this specific way, and that you're seriously getting so good at this. I mean, you're already so good at this. It's just really cool to see that.
Professional panel moderator over here. Yeah.
Thank you.
No, honestly, that's like pro level stuff.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I hope and the audience joined as well, as everyone here has. And I think maybe everyone down to maybe do an episode 4 next week, potentially.
Yes, 100%. But what's next? We're going to do the watch party first, right?
Watch party first, yes.
Yes.
On Friday.
Join us for the watch party on Friday.
Nikki's got it right. I mean, yes. Nikki there has got it right. Okay then. But until the next one, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Adios.